Hello. So this is my channel, my YouTube channel, and I want to explore one of the subjects that I teach about and one of the practices that I teach about, and that is trauma and trauma release. Trauma release exercises, so otherwise known as TRE, which you may have heard of. It's more around these days. You know, if you go to try yoga now in London, you'll have TRE classes. So it's a practice that is designed to treat trauma that is held in the body, in the muscles of the body. And it can also treat stress and tension. So some people think they don't have any trauma, and yet they know that they are experiencing a lot of stress, and this can be an amazing just self-regulatory tool. And I learned it from my mentor, who was my kinesiologist, and then he trained in TRE, and we started to do it together. And I have to say, when we first started it, I wasn't into it. I was like, okay, so what? Like, my legs are moving a little bit, but like, what's really happening? And I didn't really get it. It didn't really click for me immediately. So just to say what it is, if you don't know, TRE is a series of exercises that we do to tense and activate the muscles gently. So things like a wall sit, a variation on a squat. We're tensing the calf muscles, we're tensing the thighs, we're tensing, sorry, I shouldn't keep saying tensing, we're tensing and releasing and activating these parts of the body. We work on the front of the body, the psoas muscles. We're often like this, and this is often a protective pattern when we're tense, when we're stressed, when we've had a shock and we just want to go like this into fetal position, or we're on, sorry, I'm doing this because I was going to say when we're on our phones, there's a lot of this, which creates a lot of restriction, of things, even like blood flow. It's kind of the opposite of toning the vagus nerve, and therefore it has a negative impact on the nervous system. So we do a lot of opening up as well. And this is all to prepare the body for a final position, which is a butterfly position on the floor, our legs apart, and we move them in slowly, incrementally. So I would move in perhaps an inch, and then I would see what happens. And what happens 99% of the time is some sort of tremor. So we're activating an inbuilt tremor mechanism in the body. So it might be this, it might be a vibration that we can't see, but the person feels. It could be a huge shake, right? And the longer you practice TRE, the more likely it is that you're going to have a total body experience. So what I mean by that is tremors starting in your thighs or your calves are moving up to your hips, to your pelvis, to your upper body. You're getting upper body movement. You might get a snaking movement, and you can, if you're a spiritual person, I feel that we're all spiritual, but if you identify, or I don't like to say that, but if you have a spiritual practice and you understand things like Kundalini energy, you could also experience it as that energy moving up the body. And so this oscillation of the muscles that happens, this very fast oscillation, is something that is natural. So, if you can imagine an animal in the wild and it's being chased, and you might have seen a video, or you might have seen a dog do this even, it starts to shake. The animal starts to shake. And this is a way of releasing tension, of releasing fear that comes through the fight or flight experience. Also, TRE can get us out of a freeze state. So by coming out of this protective pattern of holding, of tensing, of contracting, instead we are expanding, we're moving, we're releasing, right? So, you know, another thing is that if we have a traumatic experience or a shock, you know, and trauma then forms in the system, which is what it is. Trauma is what happens inside of us. It's not necessarily the event, because everyone responds differently, and the circumstances will dictate how the system responds. And, you know, in an ideal situation, within the context of having a traumatic experience, it could be a car crash, it could be some form of violence, or some lesser shock than this even. And if that shock isn't released, and we aren't with a safe space holder, person, individual or group, then we can go into deep contraction, and then that is held, that is stored in the body. So in TRE, we are completing the gesture, is what my mentor has called it, and I think it's really helpful. So the gesture has started and it hasn't unfolded and completed, right? So then it's stuck in the body. So TRE is something I teach one-on-one and in groups, and it is also something that I'm going to talk about, not necessarily talking about TRE so much, although I will do a video on the practice and some tools that can be used at home. But more, you know, in my years of study, how the nervous system works, how trauma works, how trauma interacts with or is a byproduct often of high sensitivity or neurodivergence. All of these things that are also part of my own personal journey, I will be sharing here. So trauma is something that we are coming to understand now, and that's amazing. And some people say, oh, it's become such a, like, it's just a fashionable thing to talk about trauma. Well, great, like, good. We're all in some way traumatized, I believe, you know. However, using it too loosely and lightly to describe anything, like, oh, that was so traumatic, when we get stuck in traffic or something. No, I mean, we can have small t trauma and big T trauma, and, you know, big T trauma is a trauma that can overwhelm, let's stick again to the traumatic experience versus the trauma. So a big traumatic experience that then creates big T trauma in the system can overwhelm our capacity to cope. So this is one way of defining it. So we just cannot cope. We do not have the capacity to be with what we are feeling, and therefore it affects our ability to socialize, to work, to function. It can lead to autoimmune issues, it can lead to fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, etc. You know, I would say unresolved trauma and unresolved stress in the body is, many people say this, is the number one reason for dis-ease and illness and premature aging. So anything we can do to release it and heal it is going to extend our lives potentially, certainly improve the quality of our lives. So that's just a short introduction, and yeah, if you're interested in this subject and what I'm talking about, let me know. If there's anything that you think you would like me to talk about more, let me know. And at the moment it may just be my friends letting me know, as this is a brand new channel. But yeah, I will be sharing about my journey more, and yeah, I'm going to be experimenting with different formats, as I think I've already said. So yeah, sending you all lots of love from very, very, very rainy London, and see you here again.